Hello everyone, Slayercoon here. Nintendo is finally back in the spotlight with the success of the Switch. The early 2010s weren't all that kind to Nintendo in all honesty. The Wii U flopped hard and gritty first-person shooters overtook platforming games by a long shot in terms of popularity. Thankfully that has since changed. But today I'm taking a look at the best-selling Nintendo console ever. At least according to Wikipedia. The Nintendo DS. Back in the late 2000s, this handheld system was everywhere. Literally everyone I knew had one, and that's no exaggeration. This thing practically printed money with how successful it was, and it had a massive lineup of stellar games. And some shovelware too, but nowhere near as much as the Wii, so it's not a problem to me. The design of this console is fantastic. The system flips open like a laptop shrunken down to fit into your hands. The big selling point of this console is its touchscreen, which for a console released in 2004 is fantastic and extremely responsive. Some games overuse this gimmick, but those are mostly games you would find in the bargain bin anyways. Plus, this console has what is possibly the best D-pad in gaming history. It just feels so right to use. I wish more controllers had D-pads like this. Another great thing about this console is its backwards compatibility with GBA games. So you technically have two awesome game consoles in your hands. And there are plenty of great GBA games out there. Sadly, I only have two of them. Plus, it isn't backwards compatible with any Game Boy games prior to the Advance. But not everything is perfect. Plus, the console has a pretty great boot-up screen. It's nowhere near as good as the PS1's intro, but its simple but effective aesthetic is very satisfying. But what really matters here are the games, the sole reason people play a console for. So as with my last review on a console, I'll quickly go over some of my favorite games for this console. New Super Mario Bros. Sure, it has a generic name, it isn't as good as the NES or SNES era Mario titles, and spawned a sub-series of bland copy-and-paste mediocrity. But New Super Mario Bros. Is a pretty good game in all honesty. It was the first 2D Mario game in a long time when it came out, and was overall just plain simple fun. Although I can't excuse that horrible name. Ironic how New Super Mario Bros. Is now old enough to be considered a classic. Nonetheless, this game gets an 8 out of 10. GTA Chinatown Wars. The last word that comes to mind when thinking about the GTA series is underrated. Except for this entry. GTA Chinatown Wars is the most underrated GTA game ever. It wasn't too successful thanks to there being very little marketing for it, and sadly has to suffer in obscurity even to this day. This game is the best of both worlds. It has the top-down fun of the first two GTA games, with the massive world and depth of what would later come. This game is tons of fun and deserves so much more. If you own a DS, buy this game, because this is a hidden gem in a highly overrated series, and is overall a very wholesome experience. 9 out of 10. Kirby Superstar Ultra. Technically this is a remaster of Kirby Superstar from 1996, which means Nintendo really beat Spyro and Crash to the party by nearly 10 years. And what a fantastic remaster! Improving on the already awesome Kirby Superstar, Ultra improves the visuals and even adds additional modes. This game is perfect for casual and hardcore gamers alike. It starts off very easy, but once you reach the end, it becomes fairly challenging. And that is how difficulty is done. Not making the whole game easy, or building an entire game off of being frustratingly difficult, gradually making it harder as you progress. That is how it's done. This game also has a perfect soundtrack, with not a single bad tune, all of which are catchy and memorable. This game is a masterpiece of platformer gaming that is nearly perfect in every sense of the word. 9 out of 10. Scribblenauts. A fairly strange but fun puzzle game with unique gameplay. I haven't played any of the sequels, but I assume that they are better than this one. This is more or less a game you screw around with, like Gmod's sandbox gameplay. The puzzle situations are fairly average, and even screwing around with this game can get boring after a while. It might be fun if you're high or just bored and have nothing else to play, but for the most part, this game is a decent but unremarkable game that can be somewhat fun at times. 7 out of 10. Mario Kart DS. This is the first Mario Kart game I ever played, and a pretty damn good introduction. The gameplay was smooth, the courses were great, and overall, it's a solid game. I don't even have much to say about it, in all honesty. It's not as good as something like Crash Team Racing or Mario Kart 8, but for what it's worth, this game is pretty damn good and any DS owner shouldn't miss out on it. 8.5 out of 10. In general, the Nintendo DS is probably the best handheld console ever made. It has a solid lineup of games, great design, and is backwards compatible with another solid handheld. One might say that it's overrated considering literally everyone owned one back in the late 2000s, but I think it deserves its success. Much like the PS2, it bridged the gap between casual and hardcore and gained massive success due to it. And I have almost as much nostalgia for the DS as I do the PS1. It's that good. Overall, the Nintendo DS gets a 9.5 out of 10. It's a fantastic handheld that no gamer, casual or hardcore, should miss out on.